Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to be talking about a special sub-region called Krai. Now, Krai has been receiving a special amount of hype surrounding this sub-region due to the crazy trailer and lore drops that we've been receiving over the past few weeks. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they sent out another trailer close to release, but hopefully not, because there's already a lot to take in. I mean, this sub-region has a lot of hype surrounding it and a lot of support and a lot of expectations that are hopefully going to be met. I mean, players are coming back for this region since, as anticipated characters like Colombina, Varka, Alice, and a lot of people that left during Natlan are definitely coming back for this sub-region, or at least from what I've seen. A lot of players are coming back, and this is to be expected since, people have been waiting for these characters for years. So there's a lot going on in Krai. So the question you may be wondering is, Cole, which direction is Krai headed in? And if you weren't wondering that, you were. It's just you weren't, fully aware, and that's why I have such good clickbait, to bring you in, because that question was on the back of your mind, but you just never really thought about it. So that's why I'm here, to answer the questions that you never thought of. So let's talk about it. So as I said before, this sub-region has a lot of anticipated characters in it, but two characters that I really want to talk about a lot is Wander and Dottore. Now, these two have generational beef. I mean, they've had beef since Sumeru, and there's just so much hatred between those two. And from previous events in Simulanka, the summer event that happened, 2 summers ago, one summer ago, yeah, Wander has a lot of beef with Dottore, and he already vowed that he would take out Dottore one way or another. So we have a lot of beef surrounding those two right now. And I mean, from the trailer that we already saw, Wander is already going towards, trying to stop Dottore. So we're going to see a big rivalry between them. And I really do wonder if we're going to have some type of special boss fight where we actually play as Wander versus Dottore, or we're actually going to help out Wander. But in my thoughts, I feel like Dottore is going to be able to overpower Wander, especially with so much stuff that's happening with Dottore. And in case you were wondering which stuff, well, Dottore is building machines, and he's building different things that'll probably change the whole fate of Tevat, or try to change the fate of Tevat before we stop him. But Dottore is a very, very evil character and very smart, and from the comics we've seen, he's been doing a lot of evil stuff, but since his clones were destroyed thanks to Nahida, he hasn't been able to, spread his evil across Tevat. So whatever he's doing in Krai is probably going to be really, really bad, and someone's going to need to stop him. And I don't think Wander is going to have enough willpower or strength in general to defeat whatever Dottore is plotting. So this is where another character comes in. I have a feeling that Duran will be able to help out Wander, and also since Duran is in Krai from what we've seen in the trailer, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if these two went teamed up and defeated Dottore, but low chance, but power of friendship.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Speaking of Duran, I have a feeling that Duran's going to be struggling a lot with his inner demons. From the trailer that we've seen, Duran is kind of looking into his drink, and we see this kind of dragon or demon take over the screen. So obviously Duran's struggling a lot with his identity and trying to figure out who he is, probably. So there's a lot of inner demons that he needs to fight off before he gets into anything big. But we hopefully will get a lot of interaction between Wander and Duran. But in the possibility that Duran doesn't actually help out Wander for whatever reason, we're probably, as a traveler, gonna help out Wander, since like I said before, he's probably not gonna be able to defeat Dottore on his own, especially with all the Fatui in Krai. I mean, we have Sandrone, we have Colombina, we have Dottore, we have 3 Harbingers in Krai. So obviously there's a lot of negativity and bad stuff happening around the Fatui, and Wander won't be able to do it on his own. So who knows what might happen. I have a feeling that Alice is gonna intercept the battle or help us along the journey to defeating Dottore, especially since they had this small interaction. And obviously there's gonna be something big happening with Alice, since she's been around Tevat a lot, and we've been hearing a lot about her. But I have a feeling we're gonna see a glimpse of her true power. Mainly due to, the fight with Dottore, since I have a feeling this is going to be one of the biggest boss fights we have yet. But on the topic of Fatui Harbingers, we also have Sandrone, which I don't hear a lot of people talking about, which I feel like we should talk about her a lot, since Sandrone, I have a feeling she's going to be really, really insane, and she might not even be playable due to, her being a little not right in the head, kind of really crazy and really evil. And I have a feeling she's going to help out with building a lot of machines that we are going to see in Krai. And she has like some sort of like evil mindset from what we've heard other characters talk about her, like Arlecchino and Wanderer. So hopefully she lives up to that expectation, but we're probably going to have a terrible interaction with her, or we're going to see some of the machines that she's building, or whatever evil stuff that she might be helping around with the Dottore, since, you know, they are Harbingers at the wall, but low chance that they'll, you know, get along, but since they're both evil, they might get along, but I'm expecting to see a little bit of interaction between those two. Now, as far as us fighting Sandrone or having a terrible interaction with her, I don't think we'll fight her like that early in the Krai, but I have a feeling there is an expected boss fight, you know, between us and Sandrone. But I don't expect her to have like some crazy role, since there's a lot of attention being put on to Colombina. Now, Colombina is being worshipped pretty much all in Krai, and from what I've seen from sources, so spoilers in case you don't want to watch this part, you might want to skip it, but from what I've seen, she's, you know, being represented as, you know, this sort of deity, or, you know, the next moon that's going to be brought up. So a lot of the Frost Moon Scions are placing a lot of attention on Colombina and worshipping her. But with Colombina being worshipped, we're going to see her in placement of the statues of 7, so we're going to see a lot of Colombina. Now, as far as interactions with her, I doubt we're going to have any interactions with her that early on. I have a feeling we're going to interact with her like mid-version, or like 2 updates in, but I doubt we're going to have anything like crazy with her, since they do have to retrieve her first. Now, for other characters like Varka, I expect us to fight alongside with him, since, you know, he's been investigating around Krai, and since a lot of factions are in Krai, obviously there's going to be a lot of beef surrounding it. I mean, the treasure hoarders are there, the adventurers guilds are there, the Frostmoon Scions are there, the Fatui are there. There's so many factions in Krai, so obviously there's going to be a lot of, like, you know, conflict going on. But I have a feeling Varka is mainly going to go against the Fatui and what kind of evil that they've been planning around, since, you know, Mondstadt doesn't have the best, you know, history with the Fatui, especially with what happened in the first and second Archon quest, what happened with Dvalin. So there's a lot of beef between those two, so I expect Varka to have some sort of rivalry against the Fatui, and we're probably going to be able to help him around, you know, going around fighting the Fatui. But my main question is, since there's so many characters in Krai, I have a feeling Krai is going to be one of the biggest, longest Archon quest we had yet. Like, this is probably going to span for a very long time, since there's so much going on, and we're like about to enter Shnezaya about next year, so they have a lot of stuff to cram into these Archon quests. So there's probably going to be a lot of character interactions, hopefully, and hopefully it won't be rushed. I hope we get to spend time with different characters, especially the more anticipated characters, and hopefully form some type of like connection with them and get to know them a little bit more, instead of, you know, having to get to know them in story quest. But which character are you most excited for in Krai? One thing I'm most excited for in the Archon quest that's going to happen in Krai is the Traveler. Now, this is spoilers in case you didn't complete the last dance sleep. Fuck. This is spoilers in case you didn't complete the last dance lift story quest or Archon quest, so again, if you didn't complete it, skip this. But I feel like after the last Archon quest, the Traveler's ambitions and goals really changed, especially with their last interaction with their sibling. So I'm hoping we get like more of character development for the Traveler, and hopefully this sub-region makes the Traveler even stronger. I mean, we've never seen the Traveler get into, like, you know, a special type of like training, like a training arc that, like, you know, we can visibly see that he's like way stronger than before. I mean, we've seen the Traveler get stronger over time, especially in, you know, like for an example, the Skirk's story quest. I mean, the Traveler was training there, and we can see the combat upgrade there. So I hope we get some sort of like combat, like experience or more like being able to use our powers a lot more in Not Cry. I've seen a lot of people talk about like what type of power will the traveler receive in Not Cry. Will they get the power of cryo, which I don't think we're gonna get the power of cryo, you know, since there is no statue of Seven representing the Saritsa. It's mainly gonna be Colombina everywhere, so I don't expect the traveler to get the cryo, you know, power up. But maybe we're gonna get a different type of power from, you know, the moon, but that's like, you know, a chance for a different reaction. But at the same time, we're probably going to get something with like, you know, the lunar charged reaction. So hopefully we'll have something surrounding that with a new power for the traveler. But again, it's a low chance since there's a lot of thought that to be put around, you know, that whole elemental power. But, you know, I really hope that we get something for the traveler because, you know, I really feel like the traveler needs to be like established more as like the main character as far as power goes, since we're meeting a lot of powerful people. I mean, Alice, we've seen some of the crazy stuff that she's been doing around Teyvat. And in case you couldn't hear, in case you didn't know the type of stuff that Alice was doing, I mean, for an example, she made Yaimiko cry. Yep, made Yaimiko cry as a child, but to be fair, it's Yaimiko, so if she made her cry, then we can expect a lot of terrible stuff from Alice. And hopefully she lives up to that expectation of her being, you know, some sort of like carefree witch and a lot of crazy stuff. But speaking of witches, I expect us to see a lot more of the Hexen Circle, since we're already seeing another member of the Hexen Circle whose name I cannot remember and whose name I cannot pronounce. So please, if you know how to pronounce the other witch in, you know, Not Cry's name, please comment down below, because I've been struggling so much with that, and I have not seen, like, a clear, like, pronunciation of her name, so please help me out with that if you can. Now, what really interests me about Not Cry is the direction they're moving in burst animations, and you may be wondering, what we haven't seen any of the burst animations. The burst animations that we've seen in Not Cry is really interesting to me. I mean, they're playing around with like a new type of animation, well, mainly camera movements, and I really love it what they're doing with the burst animations. I mean, they look so smooth. I mean, we're seeing different camera movements, like a pedestal up movement, a lot more zooms, and hopefully they stick to this like new burst animations or like burst style. I don't know, it just feels a lot more cleaner than what we've seen before, and I hope they really stick to this. I mean, we already seen what they did with Moika and Skirk's burst animations, and I really like how smooth it is, and hopefully they keep like this sort of like special, like playing around with camera movement, playing around like cinematic features with the burst movements to make it seem really more smooth. And honestly, I really hope that, you know, when we get these model animation or model optimizations for the characters, I've heard that Child's like optimization for his face, we're getting like new updates for that, so that's a very good thing. But what I really am excited for is hopefully they have like more updates for like the older characters, or some type of like, you know, buff like they do in Honkai Star Rail to like, you know, make those older characters more playable and so people can have fun with those characters. But Not Cry is, you know, again, gonna be a region that'll probably change everything, and I know that is a very overplayed statement that this region will change everything or this region will change everything. But since Not Cry is the last region, it's pretty much a prelude to the last region on our journey. I expect a lot of like loose ends to be tied up here, and a lot of character interactions, a lot of crazy lore drops. So lore players are gonna have to work overtime with the stuff that's gonna happen in Not Cry. So hopefully this region will be able to, you know, change the entire course of Genshin and make us see a lot more truths. I mean, there's a lot of stuff with Paimon and Asmodee and her being, you know, some type of god, so you can theorize there, but I hope we get like a lot more like, you know, like loose ends tied up like they did with Mondstadt. Honestly, I have a feeling this region will do really well. I have a feeling that they're going to put their all into this, especially with all the backlash out happen with Natlan, and I have a feeling this region will meet a lot of players' expectations, and I'm really excited for what they're going to do in this sub-region. I mean, there's just so much to look forward to, from lore-wise to anticipated characters to burst animations to hopefully the Traveler, and a lot more, you know, Fatui. I'm a #1 Fatui fan. Anyways, guys, we reached the end of the video, so you can stop hearing me yap, but let me know any thoughts or concerns that you have with Not Cry and what you're most excited for in the comments below. And of course, if you didn't subscribe, what are you doing, man? Subscribe. I'll wait. Anyways, hopefully you subscribe and didn't just stare at me for like, 10 seconds. But again, if you have never watched my other videos, please go ahead and watch my other videos, especially where I talk about Natlan and why it did so bad and why a lot of players left and why I think a lot of players will come back for Krai. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.